All right, here we go. Keak Da Sneak. Welcome to VladTV.
Man, pleasure mine, Vlad. We long overdue from this interview.
Long overdue.
Yes,
Long
sir.
overdue. And this is kind of a full circle kind of situation because back in like 2008, you were in my first movie, Ghost Ride the Whip, and I actually became your DJ. You were actually the only rapper I DJ'd for.
And I was thinking that. I was like, I don't know nobody that said Vlad was their DJ. So I feel super extra special because you was the hardest mixtape DJ nigga in the East and out here damn near. You feel me? I was telling them you did a fucking mixtape with Pac and Biggie.
Yeah, the Rap Phenomenon mixtapes, man. That's what kind of got me in the game, man.
The Butcher.
The Butcher. Exactly. Well, this is our first time actually sitting down together, so I kind of want to go through the whole story.
Okay.
So, you were actually born in Alabama originally.
Bruton, Alabama.
Okay. What age did you actually move to the Bay?
My father kidnapped me and brought me to West Oakland. I was 6 months old.
Okay. So only 6 months old. So you basically grew up in the Bay your whole life.
I've been in Oakland all my life. Since 6 months. I actually went back as an adult and hated it. I wanted to come right back home from the mosquitoes and from the weather and from ant farms. I actually stepped on one and had ants all up my leg just crawling, and I had to get in alcohol and hella stuff to get them off me. It was the worst experience of my life. Not to say anything bad about Alabama, because I know I just didn't move around the way I was supposed to, but it was so hot and humid. I'm talking about raining and like 100 degrees, but raining, and then the rain is warm, hot. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Long story short, I wanted to come back home right then.
Okay, and what part of Oakland did you grow up in?
I grew up in West Oakland, and then we moved to the 20s, to East 24th. 24th Ave, East 25th. Then we moved to High Street.
Okay. So when you're talking about Oakland in the 80s, we're talking about the crack era.
Yeah.
So we're talking about it, and Oakland was one of the epicenters of that.
Yes.
So what was that like during that time?
Man, it was the worst. It got to the point where my parents had to escort me to school and then be there after school to escort me home. Because back then we were going to school and we were seeing dead bodies in the garbage cans. Like the 80s was like one of those years where a lot of people was dying, and it was the crack epic was out of control. And I remember back when I was only in the 8th and 9th grade and walking to school and seeing a dead body in the garbage. You know what I mean? My parents were so scared, they used to take me to school and then come get me after school.
Okay. So as you got older, did you start getting mixed up in the streets at all?
Yeah, I did. But football kind of saved me, you know what I mean? And rap. Because, rap was a hobby, and then I kind of had it to a science to where I could rap, and then people would want me to rap again. Or they would laugh at the things I would say, because I'd be rapping about what's going on right now. I actually had a rap for my football team. It was called Gatorade at halftime. And then everybody used to do the pads before we got off the bus, and I would do my rap called Gatorade at halftime, and then we would get off the bus juiced, ready to go win a game.
Okay. And so you started rapping in high school, and your first group was actually called Dual Committee.
Two Raw Brothers.
Two Raw Brothers.
Yeah. It's me and Asian Man. He was called the Teenager back then.
Okay, so Dual Committee, that came later, or?
Yeah, Dual Committee came because we had a lot of people that wanted to be in our crew, but we was called Two Raw. So we came up with Dual Committee, dual meaning two, and then the committee meaning everybody that was with us.
Okay. So Dual Committee actually got a record deal with AWOL Records.
Yeah, in 1993.
But that album never came out.
they left us on hold for a whole year, and we wanted to rap. We did a hip hop on the green with Marvelous and Sibo, and that's how we met AWA Records. So we was like, man, Sibo signed to him, and we were Sibo fans. Marvelous, and she was dope. Pizzo the Heater Man. Long story short, we was Juice. We was on AWA Records, but he didn't do nothing he said he was gonna do. He signed us to a 5-year contract back then, which we didn't know. We had to have a parent or a guardian to sign a contract. We was only 14 to 15. So, long story short, he left us on hold for a year, and we wanted to rap. We wanted to do an album. We had 2 albums written. The Stack and Chips album was really written. You know what I mean? After they left us on hold for a year, we wanted out of the group. And then some legal people we had was like, did your mother sign this? Did your father sign it? We was like, no. They was like, man, this shit is void. You guys are only 14, 15, man. They can't do nothing to y'all, right? So, all right, it was some kind of clause in the contract saying that they owned our name, and then we believed it. So we changed our name to 3 Times Krazy. Bart was always a friend. He came from New York. He was Mom's friend. So we was like, we're gonna put Bart in the group. We had a song called Rap Maniac, which the chorus said 3 Times Krazy. So we put Bart in the group, changed our name to 3 Times Krazy, gave him a title of all the songs we had and told him to write a verse. So he always was last writing the verse because we had already had a lot of shit did. It worked, you know what I mean? It worked. We was even funking with AWA Records. T. Fred Smith came up to my high school, wanted to fight me. Me and my brother, Orange Man, was finna jump him. You know what I mean? Sibo was in the car. This was like, I was in 11th grade. But long story short, he couldn't do nothing about it. And he was just mad, you know what I mean? First he tried to say we were suspended, you know what I mean? And then that shit was void. And the 3 Times Krazy already was jumping off. We was doing compilation tapes, and you know what I mean? And we had one of the hardest songs on the whole tape, to where Dollars and Spence, they met Bart and Tom Capone, and they wanted to sign Bart, but Bart was constantly talking about me and Mom. He was like, I don't want to do nothing without them, you feel me? Because we had put him in the group. So they came and met us, rap, and we rapped, and them niggas, they fell in love with us. So we was first was called Bart and Keak and Ager. Then it dawned on us, we should be called 3 Times Krazy.
Okay. So 3 Times Krazy ends up getting a deal with Virgin Records.
Yeah.
And, Stack and Chips comes out in 97. And I remember Keep It on the Real was just a Bay Area classic.
Shit was epic. It was the original of Tell Me How You Feel, How You Feel. We just remade it, you know what I mean? Tom Capone and One Drop Scott, they just so dope at making it sound like a whole new song. A lot of people didn't even know that was the original of Tell Me How You Feel. They thought Keep It on the Real was just an original song, you know what I mean? But it was like you heard it before. Even as a radio hit, you was like, damn, I heard this before. You know what I mean? Even if you couldn't put your finger on it. But the song was epic, man. It was epic.
Oh yeah, man. It's one of those, like you have those songs that kind of affect you. And it's like, whenever I put on, one of my Rolexes, I'm like, Rolex on my wrist because I produce hits. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those little lines that just kind of stick with you, decade after decade. Like, yeah, just an absolute dope song, man.
Man, it was dope.